I'm live on Periscope now. Oh, damn it. Okay, so we're live on Periscope. This is the mouse. Make sure everybody can see me. What's up, Periscope family? What's up, everybody? So we're live on Periscope. We're live on Mentor Tips, and I want to do a little seminar here. So I'll wait for everyone to join both sides. I'll wait everyone to come into the chat room and come into Periscope. We're going to do a little session on credit and establishing your credit, all right? Not just establishing credit, but establishing yourself per se, right? Because there's a big misconception about success and what it requires to be successful, right? So I want to give you guys some information that you otherwise may not ever get in life. You know, you may not ever get this information anywhere else in life. So I said, you know what? I've done this before, and I'm gonna I'll do this seminar again. All right, guys. So where am I from and what do I do? I'm from Toronto, and I'm an entrepreneur. I am an entrepreneur, and today I want to teach you guys, like I said, about I want to teach you guys a bit about how to establish yourself in life and how to establish yourself with building proper credit. All right. So in a moment, I'm going to start. Guys, share your feed. The people on Periscope, share your feed, please. Everybody, invite as many followers as you can. Yeah, I have no idea who Roger at Millionaire Talk is. I don't know who that is. Nor do I really care, to be quite honest with you. Guys, invite your followers, all right? Okay, so today I want to talk to you guys about establishing yourself and establishing your credit, all right? Now, there's a big misconception about what success actually is. A lot of people think success is monetary. They think success is money. They think if you got a nice car or you got nice clothes, you're successful. Well, that's not true. In fact, I know a lot of people who look successful, but they're not really that successful because they may not have the best credit, or you have a lot of people who are even something called, asset rich, cash poor. All right, and that's another discussion to have as well. So today I want to discuss credit and how vital credit is to basically establishing yourself. All right, and maintaining that successful demeanor. Okay, now what is credit? All right, what is credit exactly? Credit is exactly what it implies. It's you being given credit, right? Now, what are you given credit for? You can be given credit for being a great basketball player. I give you credit for being a great soccer player. Or I give you credit because I trust you, all right? The credit we discussed is based on trust. And that credit is what can also help you establish yourself. You see, I always tell people, you could be a multi-millionaire. You could have $100 million in your bank account. Well, $100 million is a lot of money, but you could have millions of bucks in your bank account and have terrible credit, and you might end up not being able to get a lot of things. You might not be able to get a lot of things in life. You could have amazing credit and have a semi-decent job, and you can get yourself a big house, nice car, and probably everything else. You know why? Because OPM, other people's money. The bank or financiers will come out and say, here is some money. Take my money. You've got so much good credit. You're so good at paying your debts off. You're so responsible that I'm going to give you my money. Now, credit is also responsibility, because the better your credit, the more responsible you are. All right. It shows this person is responsible about their credit. So credit is attained by essentially having a long track record of responsibility, trustworthiness, and essentially being able to manage your life properly. And those show a lot about a person's character. Because let me explain something to you. If a guy can't pay, if he's not responsible enough to pay a $30 a month payment, he's not going to be responsible enough to do what you ask if he's working for you. He's not going to be responsible enough to care if he borrowed something from you. If he didn't care about a $30 payment, that's going to show that he doesn't care about anything else. It shows a person's character, right? So that credit, although it's not the biggest indicator of someone's personality, it also does go out to show you that a person is either responsible or they're not responsible. All right. Now in America and in Canada, we have a credit system that basically is utilized to judge your standings on your bills, on your credit cards, on your loans, etc., etc. And I'm going to answer that question about a FICO score, okay? We've got two companies. You've got Equifax and TransUnion. Now, Equifax and TransUnion, everyone thinks is a credit bureau. They're not the credit bureau, all right? Equifax and TransUnion are just, and there's also Experian, are just companies, all right? Privately owned companies that are database holders. All they do is run a database. You see, when you come to Canada or the United States of America, the only number that they can give you to distinguish you from a different person is a social security number or a social insurance number. Now, the social insurance number and the social security number have nothing to do with your credit as much as people think it does. Those are just used by the CRA and the IRS to do your taxes. It's your unique identifier. Because if your name is Adam Smith, there could be 1,000 Adam Smiths. If you're born on May 8th, 1947, a lot of people are born on May 8th, 1947. So there's no real way to define who you are individually without that social security number and a social insurance number. So those are not credit related. They're individual identifiers. Now, they use social security number and a social insurance number as a database. All right? They use that as a database. Now, Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian use those numbers to store your individual information as a database. Just to let you guys know, if I'm looking back and forth on screens, I got a camera here, I got a camera here. I'm not reading this off of a script. I wish I was sometimes, all right? So they store that unique identifier, that social security number and social insurance number in their database. All right. Now, what that database serves to do is track you for the rest of your known life to the moment you die. All right. Even if you go out there and change your name, they will link that database to your date of birth or address. Their system is very intelligent. All right. Their system is very intelligent. But the governments and our system, United States and Canada, uses Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax to monitor you. In fact, these guys have gone and created this bogus terminology called a FICO score or a beacon score. All right, the FICO score or the beacon score is served to basically define where you rank on a scale of 300 to 900, with 900 being the absolute highest. All right. Now, the average population has a score of anywhere from 650 to 700. All right. In order to get approved for a mortgage or any loan, you got to be above 650. You won't even be looked at if you're not above 650 on the FICO score. And let me tell you how the FICO score is determined. It's determined on a few factors. How many inquiries you have gotten within a year, how old the credit bureau is, what your TDSR is, total debt to credit ratio, okay, total debt service ratio, all right, and how long you've held your credit lines for. Now, to me, that is bogus, and I'll tell you why. Because you could have a guy with a $500 credit card who's made every $20 a month payment have a beacon score of 750, when a guy that's got massive trade lines millions of dollars in trade lines has a Beacon score of 650 because he's over leveraged his trade lines. So banks now are shifting the scale. They used to look at that. They used to look at the Beacon score and what your ranking is. They no longer do. They no longer care because they realize it can be manipulated. The average person can go get a credit card for $500, their first credit card, all right? Just make minimum payments on it, and in a year, they'll have a credit score of 750. That doesn't mean this person is capable of paying a bill because they've only paying $20 a month. What happens when they all of a sudden get a $400,000 house or a $80,000 car? So the new system, what banks look at is they look at how old your credit bureau is. What is the age of your credit bureau? And a healthy age is 5 years. They want to see 5 years of perfect payment history. They don't care how big the credit cards are, all right? They want to see in the last 5 years how many credit lines have you attained? How many credit cards do you have? And how well have you been paying them off? They look at these key factors, all right? Now, the better it looks, so if you got 4 credit cards in there with 60 months of history, that looks amazing. Even if your FICO score is 680, that looks better than being a Beacon score of 750 and having a 5-month-old credit card with a $500 balance. However, with that being said, what the banks fail to tell you is that can also work against you because a lot of people go out there and get department store cards. Never get a department store card. And I'll tell you why. Do not ever get a card from any department store. You see, if I'm a creditor, right? I'm standing here. You come to me, you ask me for money. You say I want $100,000. I pull your credit bureau. So I say, this is Sam Smith's credit bureau, all right? He got a department store card from Walmart. Why would he want credit from Walmart? Even if the interest rate was low, which it's not, why would he want a credit card from Walmart? Can he not really afford to pay for his socks and underwear? That's how I would look at it. That's how creditors look at it. And they say, you know what? I'm going to pass. And when they see department store credit cards, you know, unless it's a department store credit card for a Home Depot and you're a contractor, you know what I mean? They frown upon that because they say if this person is willing to pay these extreme interest rates to get a $200 department store card, they're not financially sound. They're not financially sound. You know, and they are not going to extend that credit. Right? So department store cards, not only is the interest rate extremely high, but don't touch them with a 10-foot pole because they also come through all these terrible credit unions anyways. All right? You're not establishing your credit. All right? And all you're doing is making yourself on paper look bad because it looks like, hey, I needed a Walmart card. And now you're automatically, as someone said, a high-risk candidate. Right? What you want to do with your credit is very simple. Okay? Here's how you want to start it off. You want to go out there, if you got brand new credit, if your credit is brand spanking new, all right, here are a few things to do to establish yourself as a businessman so in the future, things can pan out for you. Because, hey, if you become a multimillionaire, when you become a multimillionaire and you want to go buy a $10 million house, you got to put $2 million down payment, $2.5 million down payment. You still got to borrow 75% of that money from the bank. Irrespective of being a millionaire or not, you're going to need credit. Doesn't matter. We all need credit. I need credit. If I want to go buy a $50 million house and I got to put $15 million of it down, $35 million still has to be borrowed from the bank. That bank is still going to do its due diligence on me. So let me teach you, okay? I know, guys, on Periscope, you don't get alerts anymore when I come online. I don't know why. So let me teach you how to establish your credit card, your debt, your credit, okay? I'm reading everything and spitting it out. The best way to establish yourself is this, okay? If you're a brand new individual with a brand new credit, all right? Brand new individual, brand new credit. First thing you do is get yourself a $500, okay, prepaid credit card. You're not going to get approved for an unsecured credit card. You're going to have to get a secured credit card. Get yourself a $500 or a $1,000 secured credit card. That's going to immediately open your bureau, okay? It's going to insert that credit card into your bureau, right? And it's going to start establishing yourself. Now with that credit card, here's the trick. All right, here's how I want you to use it. If you can afford to do so, whatever you use, pay the entire thing off every month. So every single month, if you use $200 from that $500, all right, you pay the entire thing off at the end of the month. Do not pay minimum payments. Pay the entire balance off, always. All right, that's going to show not the credit bureau, it's going to show the creditor that you are a responsible person. So they are much sooner going to extend unsecured credit to you. Okay, so you're going to get a $500 credit card and you're going to pay the entire thing off every single month. Then you're going to go to your bank account. All right. And you're going to go to your bank and you're going to open up a savings account or a 401k or an RRSP, some kind of savings or some kind of small mutual fund. And I'll tell you why. You see, that's not going to reflect in your credit. But 2 years from then, when you're trying to attain a loan and you write down on the document that you have savings, well, the creditor is going to look and say, this person is capable of saving money. Saving money, big equal signs, responsibility. Saving money equals responsibility. You see, 99% of people are in debt. If you've been able to save X amount of dollars, that goes to show you're responsible. Now, you're not putting those money into savings, all right, to make interest on it. You're never going to make massive interest on it. You're just going to attain responsible status. So it's going to show that, hey, I've saved $5,000 in the last 2 years. I'm a responsible man. I can pay my bills and I can save. So you're going to want to open up some sort of savings account, some sort of RRSP, TFSA, IROC, anything, all right? Something that you can start putting money into. Okay? So first you got your credit card, then you got a savings account. The next thing you're going to do, all right, is you're going to set something up from your debit card. This is what I did when I was younger. I set up from my debit card that every single time I made a transaction, I bought something, $1 from my bank account went into my savings account. So that's how I had it programmed. Every single time I made a purchase, $1 automatically went from my main account to my savings account. All right? And that automatically allowed me to start saving. Now, if your bank doesn't give you that opportunity, that's fine. Just open up some sort of savings account and start to fund it every single month. $20, $25, $50, $100, whatever you can afford. Every month, put something away in a savings account because that's going to look good on you. All right? Now, a year is going to go by. And once a year has gone by, you're going to have a $500 credit card that you've paid off every single month. All right? You're going to have a savings account that is 1 year old that you've been contributing to every single month. Now, all of a sudden, all right, you start to establish yourself. You're going to get offers from other creditors. You're going to be able to easily get a car for yourself. Yeah, you may not be able to get $1 million mortgage right away, but that's your first year and you're establishing yourself. All right? You see, there's nothing more impressive than a businessman that is established. For example, a lot of people say cash is king. Cash is king. Cash is king. But establishment is royalty. All right? Like my wallet is like a woman's wallet. It's a professional corporate wallet. When I open my wallet, I've got multiple cards in there. You know, when someone sees that, they say right away, this guy's established. Like when you open my wallet, it's full of cards. So people say, this guy is established. He's a businessman. You know, he's responsible. Doesn't mean I'm using my cards to buy a car, but it's responsibility. It looks good. You know what I mean? So remember, cash is king, but being established is royalty. All right, because when you're established, you get that respect. Okay? Now, another major thing you got to stop doing is do not apply for credit anywhere more than once a year. In fact, anyone that comes up to you and says, you know, would you like to fill this out for a new credit card? It's free. Yes, it's free. But what that does is that's going to put an inquiry in your bureau. Macintosh, I'm not a drug dealer. I don't keep cash in my wallet. So that's going to put an inquiry in your bureau. You do not want an inquiry in your bureau. All right, correct. Hard inquiry. There's a soft inquiry and a hard inquiry. Now, banks, when you open up your bank account, all right, do an inquiry. That's okay. When you go to a creditor, they do an inquiry. But if you have too many inquiries in your account, all right, in your credit bureau, you know what that looks like to a creditor? It looks like you're credit shopping. It looks like you're seeking credit. It looks like you're trying to get money or you don't have any money, all right? And you're running around looking to get funds. And that's going to prevent you from getting money from others, or it's going to make you look like you're just shopping around. You're just shopping for money and your credit score is going to drop. In fact, your beacon score will drop by around 7 points on every hard inquiry if it's not justified. And the way justification works is this is stuff you need to learn. If I'm a creditor and I see, for example, you got 6 or 5 inquiries in a matter of a week from mortgage companies, I'm going to look to see if the following week you were approved for a mortgage, because that'll be okay. Because then I'll say, you know what? He was shopping for a better rate and he got approved for a mortgage. But if I see 5 inquiries and no credit line to match it, I'm right away going to turn around and say 5 people declined them. 5 people declined this person. Why was he seeking credit? Why was he shopping around? Is he broke? Is he trying to take this money and run? So inquiries are something you really don't want to get. All right? Same with buying a car. You want to make sure when you go to some brokers, mortgage brokers or car brokers, you got to tell them, do not run my credit. Do not shop my credit. Because a lot of these guys are monsters. What they do is they don't care about your credit. They just want to make the commission off you. So they'll take your credit bureau once you sign it and they'll ship it off to 50 different places. And they'll have every single person hit your credit. Before you know it, you got 8 inquiries and the guy comes back and says, oh, well, I'm sorry, I couldn't get you approved. Here's 8 inquiries. Your credit score is lower by 50 points now. All right? So your credit is like your baby. Your social security and social insurance number, you do not let anybody run your credit. The only time someone should run your credit is if you personally want to attain a loan or attain some money. Okay? Or if you're in the need of a mortgage, you know, it's got to be a major reason for it. Credit is not something you're ever going to get back if you mess that up. All right? So the key points to take away here is protect your credit. All right? Maintain a good score by having a proper credit line, paying it off every single month. All right? Do not get department store credit cards. Maintain a savings account of some sort to show responsibility. And do not let people hit your account with inquiries. And if you do that, co-signing, let me tell you about co-signing. You should never co-sign anybody. The only time you should co-sign someone is if it's your mom, dad, or spouse. Not even your brother or sister. Sorry to my siblings if you're watching this. All right? Frank Hamilton, if you mess up your credit, you can fix it. You can fix it via two ways: a bankruptcy or a consumer proposal, or voluntary payments. All right? Voluntary payments is where you voluntarily choose to pay the debts back. The debts will stay, the bad credit will stay in your bureau for 3 years after the last day of payment on that specific credit line. So if you have a bad credit on your car, for example, and it's in your bureau, all right, and you pay the entire thing off on Monday, from Monday, it'll take 3 years for that to drop off your bureau. Okay? If you claim bankruptcy, your credit will stay in bankruptcy for 9 years, 7 to 9 years, depending on how many times you've gone bankrupt. All right? So for 7 years, you won't be able to get diddly squat without paying extremely high rates. After 1 year, your bankruptcy will be discharged, but you will still have to pay higher interest rates to everybody else. So you can repair your credit, but it costs money and it takes time. Now, to those individuals that think I cannot pay anything in my credit bureau and it'll fall off by itself, you're right. After 7 years, everything falls off your bureau anyways, irrespective of you paying it off or going bankrupt. So if you owed everybody money, 7 years from now, it'll fall off your credit bureau. And a lot of people think, well, I'm just going to wait 7 years. Because on the law is that 7 years after the last activity, it will fall off. But let me tell you what creditors do. They'll wait for 7 years and it'll fall off. Okay? The next day, the moment it falls off, they'll refile it again for another 7 years. So you're screwed. All right? The only way you can fix it is by a consumer proposal, voluntary payments, or just be fucking responsible and pay your bills. All right? You see, if you pay your bills, all right, if you pay your bills, you can rectify your credit. See, someone just said my score dropped from 640 to 580. Old utility bill and 3 inquiries, all I see in my report. Utility bills, those collections are brutal. All right, those collections are brutal for your system, for your credit bureau. Okay, you do not want to owe utility bills. You do not want to owe cable any money because that's going to kill you. Those guys are the first guys that'll go in your bureau and stamp it in there. All right, and the fact that you have 3 inquiries in a short period of time, that's definitely going to drop your bureau, for sure. Okay. Judgments against you. A judgment is if you've ever been sued. So if somebody sues you, if I come and sue Simon, all right, and I win in court, and I cannot attain my money from Simon because Simon does not have the capital to satisfy me. So Simon does not have the money to satisfy me. What I can do is attain a judgment, which means it's an automatic judgment against Simon himself or his property. All right. That means that Simon will owe me money for the rest of his life. And that will be in his credit bureau. Sorry, Simon. I did not mean to use you as an example. That will remain in his credit bureau. Now, if I have attained a judgment against Simon on a personal level, it'll remain in his personal credit bureau. And anytime he seeks credit, I can actually go ahead and put a lien on that money and take that money away from him. If I go ahead and put that judgment on his property, he can never sell his place without me getting paid first. In fact, okay, if he sold his place and he owed me $100,000, all right, and he made $200,000, his lawyer would have to satisfy my payment first. So his lawyer would cut me a check for $100,000 and give him $100,000. So it secures my lien. Correct. It's called a lien. It secures my lien on his property. With the judgment, you can attain a lien. All right. So if I get a judgment on Simon, I can get a lien on his property. I can get a lien against his business. I can get a lien against him. Now, the only way to fix that is to satisfy that loan. All right, is to satisfy the lien. You got to satisfy the amount of money you owe to that person. Now, some people go into a judgment years later, they settle at a lower amount. All right? But as long as that judgment remains, that's going to stay on your bureau indefinitely. The only way a judgment will fall off your bureau is if you claim bankruptcy or you file for a consumer proposal. A consumer proposal is when you are doing a soft bankruptcy. Essentially, you are offering to pay off the entire amount in a consolidated manner. So if you owe $100,000 instead of claiming bankruptcy, you can make an offer based on how much money your income is, and maybe settle for $7,000, $6,000. And once that consumer proposal is satisfied, 3 years from that date, it'll fall off your credit bureau. So the only good thing about a consumer proposal over a bankruptcy is it lasts 3 years. Bankruptcy lasts 7 years. Okay. With that being said, are they defaulted? What do you mean, are they defaulted? Any questions? If you have a judgment against you, you can't really, if you have a judgment against you and your business is not involved in it, then if it's a corporation, the corporation is its own entity, right? So they can't sue the business. If you're the sole director on it, they can come after the director's assets, but they cannot sue the business because that business is an entity on its own. That business is separate from you. You are a director or a shareholder, but your business is protected under the Business Act of it being a sole entity. So if there's a judgment against you, no, nobody can come after your business as long as the judgment is not registered against your business. Understand? Yes, don't apply for a Macy's card at all. If you know you have a judgment, if you don't know you have a judgment against you, well, you'll know by pulling your credit bureau, right? You can go out there, you can check your credit bureau, and you can get all the information you want there. And if there's a judgment against you, you'll see it there. Sometimes if it's not listed in the bureau, you can have a lawyer. You can have a lawyer do a search, a lien search or title search, and check and see and make sure that there's nothing under your name. All right, guys. So with that being said, I do have to go enjoy my Saturday. I think I gave you guys quite a bit of information. All right. I will be back a little bit later on. I hope you guys have a wonderful Saturday. The weather here is it's rainy and it's fall, and I'm going to do a couple of things here, and I will get back with you guys later on in the evening. All right. Love you guys. Thank you for joining this, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you appreciated the information I shared with you today.